Hey guys, welcome back. In the previous video, we made our tests and our API scope agnostic. So basically what we did was, for example, if we go into this API, we were able to provide the right specification by creating a specification factory for the scope that we request from our test. Now, if we go inside this get spec for method, we can see in this spec factory, depending on guest, maintainer, or admin, we are able to fetch the right specification in this case, but also the right token. And I said, well, the token should be same in case of maintainer and admin in case of RESTful lookup because, well, there is no separate authentication token for maintainer. But in a real life scenario, the token that we will have for maintainer and the token that we will have for admin would be different tokens. And at this moment, if I go into this auth API get token method, what we see is we have this auth body.get instance, which is passed to this method to give us an authentication token. But if you go again inside in this auth body.get instance, what we see is we have hard coded the username and password as admin username and admin password. So this clearly shows that if we want to like make it work for let's go back. If you want to make it work for maintainer ID, and if the maintainer ID was different, this would not work, right? So what we need is something similar to like a specification factory. We also need a token factory, which can give us the right token depending on the kind of role that we pick up. So in this video, that's exactly what we are going to cover. So first and foremost, let's make a copy of spec factory because the elements are more or less going to be same. So let's make a copy of it and let's add this token factory inside the auth package. So let's create a new class, in fact not new, let's paste this and I will call it as token factory. So this token factory would return a token. So it will not return a request specification builder, but it will return a string and we will say get token 4 for a scope, and then based on the scope we will return a right token. Now in case of guest, it should be simple. We will just return a string, so return an empty string, so that's easy. In case of maintainer, actually what we want to do is, instead of, like we said, instead of returning this get token with a fixed instance of a body which actually contains admin username and password, we are actually going to get this authentication body. And let's see, if we say auth body, and of course we need to get this configuration. So let's copy this, put it here in the token factory, and now we have an auth body, and based on the auth body we could now make a call to the auth API endpoint. So actually we want this method to accept this input as auth body, and we don't want to basically provide this as a part of this method. And if I of course we have problems, but that's okay. And in the get token method, then we need to so let's call it as return get token with an auth body. This is what we want to. We actually have to get rid of this method, so I will remove this. So based on the auth API, get token based on this auth body, and the same will apply for admin. So let me copy paste this whole thing, and instead of providing the admin body as admin username, let's create two more usernames for role maintainer, right? So let's copy this, and let's say if I go to secrets, let me put it here. Let's make it copy maintainer, and for now, because we know that we don't have a separate username and password, we will keep it the same. But in a real life project, these values would be different, right? And let me also copy this for all the test environments. So staging, let's also copy it for develop and localhost, right? So cool. So with this done, let me go back. maintainer username and maintainer password. So this is what I need to provide in a maintainer username and maintainer password. And in fact, we can specify the auth body at the method level. So actually I can say auth body, and then we have an auth body, and in fact these method calls are same, so I could say return auth API body. So in case of guest, we will directly return string. In case of maintainer, we will just build the body, and we will actually break after creating the body, because otherwise it will continue and call the other case. So let's break this, and once we have the right body, then we are able to get the token based on this auth body. So if it is not a guest user, right? So I think this makes our token factory ready, and now we can actually say that base spec, in the spec factory we can actually say return base spec, and in fact instead of providing auth API dot get token, we can have a token factory, and this token factory can give us token for maintainer, right? Alt enter, import static method, and the same can be set for admin one. So maintainer, in fact not maintainer, it's admin. Yeah, let's just cross check for one more moment. Get token for admin, get token for admin, it will define an auth body, and yeah, this looks okay to me. So let's see if I just go back, and if I try to run one of the tests, let's see if it works fine or not. Because nothing has changed in the update booking, it's still calling the spec factory, and the thing that is being changed is inside the spec factory. So if all is well, this should work fine. Cool, so this was good. Let's make a call to all the tests just to be sure that if it is also able to pick the guest token correctly or not. Okay, let's wait and watch. Admin user, everything is correct. We expect the partially update booking to be failed because there is a bug in this. So everything looks to be okay here. So just okay, so this is okay. And if I go back, so spec factory is then using token factory, and we are calling with the right scope. What else? I think the only other thing that we can do is, now even though we do have a token factory, using which can give you the right token for the right role, it can happen that somebody still go ahead and use this auth API and pass the authentication body to get the tokens. So it would actually be nice if we can make token factory as the default class to fetch any factories and not rely on this public method that anyone can use. So in fact what we can do is I can copy this method. So if I copy this method, put inside token factory and make it a private method. So let's say if I make it a private method, I can even remove the static string, and yeah, I can add the log at SL4J. And now let's see, get token, and in fact we don't need to call auth API get token, we can call our own method here. So it's just non-static method. Yeah, so let's keep it static, that's okay. So we're not relying on the auth API class. And in this case, if I now see if there's any class which is using it, if not I will delete it. save delete. Okay, cool. So now TokenFactory is the only place using which you can get token for a particular scope. And one more thing that we can do is, now since we get auth body for the right user ID and right user password, I can actually delete it from this get instance method, right? Uh, and so if I get rid of this auth body, let me delete this. Let's see if it was used somewhere else. So maybe in the test, booking test, close other tabs. Let's see. There are no problems here. Booking get instance. Let's see if I run the test again. Do we see any issues or not? Run booking. If the instance was directly used anywhere, it would have given us some failures. But seems like it is not used anywhere at this moment. So everything is expected. So that's not a problem at all. So our body is also cleaned. We have a scope which gives us the right scope, guest, maintainer, admin, and we have a TokenFactory which gives us the right token based on the scope of the user. So this seems perfect to me. I think the same can also be said about the specification. So even though we have a spec factory which gives us the right specification for guest, maintainer, admin, actually we also have a base spec class, and it can happen that people accidentally directly use these get methods to get the specification. So why not also copy these methods and put inside the spec factory class. So if I put them inside spec factory class, let me copy this spec factory, and in fact I should be able to now delete the base spec class. So refactor, save delete. Okay, view usages. Seems there are still some classes which are using base spec class. Spec factory, yeah, base spec dot get. So our spec factory is using base spec. So what we are going to do is, instead of using base spec, we are going to use our own private methods now, right? So private, control C, control V. So don't use base spec, but rely on our own private get methods that we have in the same factory class, right? So if I go and do a save delete now, save delete, cool, it's gone. And now we only have one entry point to get the specification, and nobody can directly call these methods, which is exactly what we wanted. So let's just run one more time our test, and if everything is fine, then we can wrap up this video. So let's run the test. Cool. So everything is exactly as we expected. So I think that's it for this video. And maybe as a last thing, what I can do is I can see if there is a way to have these authentication tokens as singleton entities, because once we create a token for a role type, normally the tokens have a good lifespan, and there's no reason that for every single test we have to create a new token for that particular test. And it could be especially handy, let's say if in your particular project the token life is, let's say, for 1 hour or 2 hours. Mostly API tests are finished within minutes, so that could be a good optimization to do, especially for real life projects. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you. Bye bye.